All right, so we are talking about our book clubs with the Tale of Despereaux today. Now, I want everyone to look at your packet. Just look at the front page of your packet. Now, without getting out of your seat, look at the front page of the person next to you's packet and to the person on your other side. Does everyone have the same page to start their packet? No. Now, my virtual learners, you all three of you have the same first page. But the reason why is because each time we have a packet page to do, you are just going to go in order. Because each page in your packet is a different role for book club. So I want you to go and find the page that says discussion director. Some of you might be the first page. I want you to flip through your packet until you find discussion director. Discussion director looks like this. Yep. Discussion director. Yeah, you should have done that. Ready to rock? So, 5th grade, when it is your turn to be discussion director, because would book club work really well if we all had the same role every single day?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. So, when it is your turn to be discussion director, this is what you're going to do. I want you to follow along with me as I read the instructions on the page. Voice is off. So, when you are discussion director, your job is to write a list of questions that your group will discuss during your meeting. So we will have days where we are just reading in class, and then the next day will be a discussion day. So let's say one of our reading days we read chapter like 13 through 17, and then the next day is a discussion day. If you are the discussion director, then you are thinking about chapters 13 through 17 that we read the day before and coming up with questions from those chapters. Now, you might be thinking, Miss E, what kinds of questions? I want you to think the way Miss E does. I want you to think the way I do. Think about questions I would ask the class as a teacher when we are discussing a novel. So your questions are to be thought-provoking and broad enough to be answered in more than one way. So should you be asking yes or no questions? No, unless if you wanted to include one really badly, it would have to be yes or no, explain why you think that way. So it can't just be answered with one word. I did not call on you. It should not be able to be answered, your question should not be able to be answered with one word. They should be open-ended, or if it is a yes or no, you need to have us explain why we think that way. They may not be yes or no questions unless you ask your group members to explain their answer. I'm getting ahead of myself. So some sample starters. You guys, it already gives you some examples on how you can start your questions on the page. So you could start with, what did you think? How did you feel? Predict. Were you surprised? What is important? When? Why? Or did? Those are all great ways to start your questions. Now, on discussion director, at the top, I want you to write at least 10 questions. At the top, write at least 10 questions. So write at least 10 questions at the top. I need voices off.
I don't have any questions about this book. We haven't even got into it yet. No, she's saying a reminder that says at least 10 questions. Oh, a reminder. Oh.
Okay, yes, I will send her up. You're welcome. Okay, Allison, you need to go if you have an appointment. Okay. So at the top of discussion director, you're writing the phrase at least 10 questions. So that means when it is your turn to be discussion director, you should be coming up with at least 10 open-ended questions.
You don't have to write 10 questions. You have to write 10.
At least 10 questions. That's what you're writing at the top of the discussion director page. Yeah, at least 10 questions right at the top of the discussion director page.
Just write at least 10 questions?
Yep.
Yeah.
Write the phrase at least 10 questions.
Oh, because I was about to say.
Write the phrase at least 10 questions at the top.
Write 10 questions. I'm like, I don't get me out of the book. You didn't even start it a word.
Jack, you are writing the words at least 10 questions at the top of the discussion director page. Did you write that? Write it, please. Are you on the discussion director page in your packet? Okay, so write the word the words at least 10 questions. Just write those words at the top. All right, at least 10 questions. That's what you're writing at the top. Those 4 words. Does that make sense? Okay. So are there questions about the discussion director role? Yes.
Can you do instead of yes or no, why or why not?
You can, but they would need to answer something first, right? So like if we were talking about Number the Stars, you could ask, do you think Uncle Henrik is a Nazi? Why or why not? So they need to answer one question first, then say why or why not.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But you don't want a ton of those. You don't want every single question to be the same kind of question because that gets boring, right? So that's why there are sample starters on your page to give you ideas for how you can start your questions. Are there any other questions on the discussion director? So each discussion day, 5th grade, some of us will be discussion directors and we will be answering their questions. Now I want you to turn to the connector page in your packet. The page that says connector at the top. The page that says connector at the top. Okay, so for connector, read along with me. When you are the connector, when that is your job, it says your job is to find a connection between the book you are reading and the outside world. So again, if we just read chapters 13 through 17, you're only focusing on chapters 13 and 17 for the page you're doing. You're not thinking about 1 through 12, you're thinking about 13 through 17. And your job for connector, think about how something that happened in the story or connects either to your life, to our school, or to what's going on in our world. This means, connecting what you read to your own life, to what happens at school and in the community, to similar events at other times and places, or to other people and problems. So when you're connector, you're going to write the page number and paragraph. That way, like when I call on you as connector, you can share, okay, I saw on this page in this paragraph that this happened. Well, I can connect to that because this happened in my life too, and this is what happened. So you are going to be writing the specific page number and paragraph that you are connecting to. So like in Number the Stars, what's a connection we could have with something that happened in Number the Stars? What's a connection that we have between something that happened in Number the Stars? Mackenzie.
When the mom broke her ankle,
yes.
I broke my arm.
Okay, so Mackenzie could talk about, okay, on this page, this paragraph, Anne-Marie's mom broke her ankle when she was going through the path. Well, I can connect to that because when I did this, I broke my arm. What's another connection? Addie.
Anne-Marie is tall and fast,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister is Mila is fast.
Okay, so you can connect it to your sibling. How about things going on in the world or the community? How could we connect Number the Stars to that? Jack L.
People dying.
Yes. We talked about people dying with Number the Stars or people having to escape to another country. We've known that people even today have to flee their country because of their safety, right? In other countries. So we could connect to that. Mackenzie?
Also, in the book, they were
Yeah.
kind of like racist.
Mm.
In real life, there's a lot of racism.
Yeah, so, that's kind of all that the Holocaust was. It was racism, against the Jewish community. So we can connect to that to stories we hear today as well. So does the connector make sense what you're doing when you're the connector? Okay. Now I want you to go to the vocabulary enricher. Vocabulary enricher. Vocabulary enricher. So, when it is your turn to be the vocabulary enricher, your job will be to find important words as you read. So does this necessarily mean that you yourself need to find words that you don't understand? No, you might understand all the words in this book. Your job is to think of what are some words that other people in my class might not understand. So you're going to find those important words. If you find words that are puzzling or unfamiliar, write them on the chart. Also look for words that are significant to the story and record them. When you are done reading, look up the words in a dictionary, or you can go to dictionary.com and write down the definitions. When your group meets, you will share your words and definitions. So 5th grade, I would say, yes, so you're going to write the page in the paragraph where you found the word. Then you're going to write the word, and then you're going to write the definition that you find when you look it up. At the top, I want you to write at least 5 words. Write that phrase, at least 5 words. Write those words at the top of your page. At least 5 words. Max.
What does it mean by also the words that are significant to the story? Like, say, one minute of your
Okay, so words important to the story could be places in the story. Yep, it could be, so in the Tale Despero, some people will use like French phrases or French words. You could include those because that's important to the story and we don't all speak French. Or if there's a word that keeps popping up, there's going to be one that pops up quite a bit in Despero. It's one of the themes of our story. That could pop up as well. So you should be writing at the top of the vocabulary enricher page at least 5 words. So when you're a vocabulary enricher, you need to come up or find at least 5 words in our chapters. Write down where you found them, the words and their definitions. Yosius.
So whenever we do like one of those things, we gotta fill up the page.
Yes.
So will we get like a new packet every single time we?
Nope, you're filling out 1 page each time. Just one of the pages.
So it doesn't like recycle. Everybody's just that once.
Yes. Yep, you're just one of those once.
There's a lot of pages
Okay.
in that.
Other questions on vocabulary enricher? Richie.
So I have like two questions.
Okay.
About the EOCS thing, what if we all finish the packet, we still have like a good chunk to go?
Do you think I would let that happen, Richie?
Maybe.
I have space. I have already figured out how much we're reading each day to where it pairs up with our packet.
Okay. On the math. And
Yes.
then also, so like the page on your front page.
That's the
will
one
be
you
assigned
start
each
with.
day?
Not today. So today and tomorrow, we're going to get started on our book. Then we're going to start reading on Monday. Tuesday will be our first discussion day. So for your first page, you can actually like draw from or find things from what we read today, tomorrow, and Monday. Okay? And we'll talk about that. Yep. Max, what's your question?
How long do you think this book's going
To the end of up until Christmas break. Okay, it'll take us up to Christmas break. Philip, what's your no question? Are there questions on the vocabulary enricher?
No, it's
Mackenzie, do you have a question on this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you say at least 5 questions, so it may say like 5 or more questions.
Yes, exactly. When I say at least, you need to do at least that many, but you can do more. Yep. So for this one, at least 5
You do
words.
5.1.
I don't know how you could do that, but sure. Yes,
what's
Richie.
the AR points for this?
I don't know off the top of my head. We can look it up later. All right, next, I want you to find the Illustrator page. Illustrator page. Turn to the Illustrator page. Yep. What? I mean, like you're reading, that kind of stuff, yes. All right, so for Illustrator, follow along with me as I read. Voices should be off. Jack P., did you flip to the Illustrator page? Are you looking at your packet? Philip, are you looking at your packet? Put your book away. If I have to say it again, it's gone for the rest of the week, which means you wouldn't get back until after Thanksgiving break. Okay, your job when you are Illustrator is to draw some kind of picture related to what you read in your assignment. So if we read chapters 13 through 17, you would think about what happened in chapters 13 through 17 if you're the illustrator for those chapters and draw something that happened in the book. It can be completed with any drawing tool, crayons, colored pencils, markers, or etc. Now you guys, what might be an issue with markers though? It could bleed through, and since this is a double-sided packet, it might ruin what's on the back side. So you just want to make sure if you're using markers, you're not pressing too hard or keeping the marker down too long. You could. When presenting your illustration, so you'll show the illustration to us, you are going to let the class guess what you drew. So what part of the book did you draw? And then when we've had a chance to guess, then you'll explain your drawing and why you chose it. Now, if your assignment is to be the illustrator for our chapters, should you just do a quick pencil drawing?
No, you gotta color it.
No, there needs to be color. So at the top, I want you to write, don't forget to color. At the top of the Illustrator page, write, don't forget to color.
Oh, so we won't.
Don't forget to color.
So we won't have any homework on the packet today, tomorrow, and then not till after Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, not till after Thanksgiving. Yep.
This is our homework for every night, unlike our not.
Yeah, so we won't have anything in Google Classroom with the Tale of Death Sprout. It will just be our packet. Okay? Yep. Eosius, what's your question?
I have 2 questions.
About the Illustrator page? Okay, that's okay. All right, so did we all write don't forget to color at the top of the Illustrator page?
Yes.
All right, then after you've written, Jack, did you write don't forget to color at the top of the Illustrator page? Please do that. Then you are going to flip to the Literary Luminary page. Literary Luminary. Yep. So, ready to rock? When you are the Literary Luminary, your job, and I hope you're listening, your job is to choose a paragraph or sentences from what you read to discuss with your group. Your purpose is to shine light on something important, interesting, powerful, funny, or puzzling from the text. So, 5th grade, if we read chapters 13 through 17 and you are the Literary Luminary, you are thinking about what are some really powerful, funny, puzzling, interesting, or important paragraphs or sentences from what we just read. And what you are going to do, this is probably the one I get the most questions on. So if you're talking right now and then you ask me questions about it, I'm going to be a little upset with you, not going to lie. What you're going to do is you're going to find those sentences or paragraphs. So notice there's room for 2. So you're going to find 2 spots in the chapters that you read that you want to discuss as a group. You'll write what page you found it on and what paragraph, so you can kind of count from the top, like, okay, the 4th paragraph down. And then you're going to write why you think it's funny, why you think it's interesting or important or powerful or puzzling. So you're going to pick a spot, 2 spots in the book, write down the page and the paragraph that you found it in, and then you're going to write why you think it's important to discuss. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So like in Number the Stars, if we were towards the end of the book and you were Literary Luminary, one paragraph might be when Anne-Marie discovers that Mr. Rosen dropped the packet. That's a pretty powerful time, right? And then maybe your second one that you write down is Anne-Marie encountering the soldiers at the end of the path, because that's a really big moment too, right? So when you are Literary Luminary, you are finding 2, because there are 2 spots to write paragraph and page number and your reason. Are there questions on the Literary Luminary? What's your question, Eosius?
It's for this one, but also for the whole packet.
Yes.
So for the whole packet, should we be writing complete sentences?
I would say do your best. Now, if you're if you're grabbing a direct quote from the book and maybe it's like a character being interrupted and they don't finish their sentence, that's totally fine. But I would say do your best to write incomplete sentences. Yes, you should be. So capital letter at the beginning of your sentence and punctuation at the end. Max.
So since there's only 2, and we're doing I get this job or job,
Mm-hmm.
are we gonna get this a second
Nope, you'll just get it once. Yes, you'll do each roll once. Then, I think this is our last one. Yes. Find the summarizer page. Summarizer page.
That is my third.
Yep, last page for me.
Wait, did we write anything on the top connector?
So, summarizer page. All right, read along with me. When you are the summarizer, your job is to write a summary of the assignment. Don't write the whole story, just focus on the important parts.
Come on.
Your summary should be about 5 sentences in length. So, what I want you to do, I want you to circle or underline the word important in the directions. Underline the word important. Just focus on the important parts. If I wanted you to write the story, I would just read it over again. You should be, really, you should be paraphrasing, only focusing on the important parts. Then I want you to circle the number 5 in the directions. Your summary should be about 5 sentences in length. So if I look at your page and your summarizer and I see 2 sentences, should you get full points for your page?
No.
If I see that you are summarizer and you have 4 long sentences, should you get your points?
You could, but
Yeah.
probably not.
So now if I see 4 sentences like Despero was sad, Despero went here, Despero went here, Despero went here. Like,
What about
are you gonna get your full points if you? No.
What about if you did 5 of those?
Yeah. Well.
What if you did 5?
Okay. Let me put it this way.
5 good detailed sentences.
You want details, exactly. You want details in your sentence. You guys, is it interesting to read 5 sentences that all start with the same word? No.
Despero was.
When you are writing,
Despero was.
a paragraph,
Despero was.
waiting for you. Waiting for you.
Decimal.
Jeff. When you are writing a paragraph, so like 5 sentences, that would be a paragraph. You should never start in the same paragraph. You should not start those sentences with the same word. None of them should start with the same word. That forces you to be creative about how you are wording your sentences. So, at the top of summarizer, I want you to write, don't start sentences with the same word. At the top of summarizer, write, don't start sentences with the same word. So that means each of your sentences should start with a different word. So at the top of summarizer, we're writing, don't start sentences with the same word. Okay, so what we're going to do next, I'll answer Max's question, but then I'm going to have you write the date on each of these pages. So I want you all to flip back to the beginning of your packet, and I'm going to answer Max's question. Max, what's your question? I don't think so. For reading. Yep. Okay, Frankie, what's your question? After I tell you the dates for the pages. Okay? So, bring this with me. Okay, is everyone on the front page of their packet? Remember, you all kind of start on a different page. The front page of your packet. First of all, on the front page, make sure you're writing your name and your book number. Write your name and your book number. Okay, so has everyone written their name and their book number on the front page of their packet? Awesome. What you are going to do, so like I said, 5th grade, we're going to just read today, just read tomorrow, just read on Monday. Now, your first page then, if I can freeze this, there we go. Daily lesson plans. December. Okay, so get ready to write the date. So on your first packet page, do you guys see how there is a spot to, all right, I'm waiting for you. Do you guys see on your first page how there's a spot for you to write the date? you are going to be writing the due date for each page so you know when each of these pages is due. So your first page, you are writing 12-1. So my virtual learners, you all start with the discussion director. So where it says date, you're writing 12-1 on the first page. Then you are going to flip to your second page. So virtual learners, that's connector. Then on your second page, you are writing 12-3. So 12-3 on your second page. Then on your third page, you are writing 12-8. 12-8 on your third page. Then, on your fourth page, you are writing 12-10. 12-10. On your, are we ready for the fifth page? Yes. On your fifth page, you are writing 12-14. 12-14 on your fifth page. Then on your sixth page, so this should be the last page of your packet.
On the back.
Yep, on the very back, you are writing 12-16. So we are now on our last page of our packets on the very back, 12-16. All right, so Max, what is your question? Yeah, so you guys do have a language arts folder. We don't use it a lot, but this is one of the times where we will be. So once we're done, actually when you get your snack, I'll have you grab your folder. So 5th grade, our first day that our first page is due, we will have read today, tomorrow, and Monday. So for your first page, you'll be able to pick from all of those chapters we read for your first page. Capiche? Okay. Yes, Max. What? I don't remember. I gotta look. Okay. All right. When I dismiss your row, you're going to grab your snack and your language arts folder. Capiche? Nice job.